Darling, darling, darling. Thank you for staying with this Belle Eyes soap opera. This is the last one. When we got back to San Francisco, of course we were met. We left Japan and were flying back to San Francisco. And of course, the topless girls were there throwing rice. It was a scene. And I posted the picture where I'm smiling, and someone said, you look like you're grimacing too, and I was. And some of my family members were there. And can you believe what Mel said? That bastard. After he met my family, my genteel family, he said, more mouths to feed, I guess. I wanted to hit the guy, but I was trying to work it out. I'm genteel, and I've been taught to be that way, and to act like everything's okay, but it's not. I don't do that anymore. But when I got home, I had told Mel, I was going to get a lawyer, and he just shrugged. He wouldn't talk to me about it. And the next day, he was going to Houston to he was going to give a speech there, I think. And so he asked me if I would drive him to the airport. I did, because that would give me a chance to talk to him. And I talked to him, like talking to the glass, the windshield, for the feedback I got. And he leaned over the seat and kissed me goodbye. And I didn't see him again for 30 years. Duh. How does that sound, babe? I got a lawyer, and he needed to find out, what the situation was with my marriage. And I had to move on, but I couldn't until I got a resolution. So my attorney decided to ask for money, because he knew that would flush Mel out, or thought it would, since he was hunting hair in Belgium, he said. All these crazy things, because he never showed up in court. I was sitting at the counsel table, not knowing the rules of court, and when my attorney asked for money, I stood up and I said, I don't want one red dime from that man. And of course, the judge banged the gavel, and he made me sit in the back of the courtroom, and he said, no more outbursts. An outburst and you're out of here. And I go, okay. So, and while that was going on, the press was coming in, they were taking pictures, and I will never forget Pia Lindstrom, Ingrid Bergman's daughter, worked at KGO2, and I knew her. And she came in and did a video thing, and she said, Pat, I'm so sorry to be doing this, because I know what it's like. I've lived through this kind of thing, and I'm so sorry, please forgive me. And I understood, we were news, and she was working in the news department. But, the interesting part of all this, and I kind of skipped over it, after Mel left, I went home and had a phone call from Abe Melenkoff. Abe Melenkoff was the editor of the San Francisco Chronicle, and a lovely man and a very powerful man. And he said, Pat, you need to get out of this marriage. And I go tell me about it. And he said, have you looked at the paper? And I said, not today. And he said, would you look on page 4? So I did. And can you believe it? The synchronicity of life, how the universe gives us what we need. It's amazing. There was a picture and a story about a American couple that got married in Japan in a Shinto ceremony, but they weren't legally married because they hadn't signed certain papers with the American embassy. Abe said, "Did you sign papers?" I said, "No." Mel said we didn't have to. He wrote the book, Life and Law in Japan. He knew everything. So, honey, I played that. My attorney used it. And the only money that changed hands in that deal, because I didn't want any money, not one red dime, was the check, a cashier's check for George Davis, my attorney's fees. Handed, he had his hand on it, verified it, and that was it. It was over. But of course, it has a lasting effect. So all of you, or any of you, anyone you know who's putting up with BS from someone they're married to, or a boyfriend, or whatever it may be, no, don't do that. You're too valuable. That's been my life lesson, darling, and I'm passing it along. This is a big school down here, this Earth School, and we learn, and I don't regret a bridge I've walked over, ever. Mwah!